Yeah.
I wish Mother was here.
This is the show where Ohio throws down. Ohio is on fire! Fire, fire, fire! Oh, I love it. I am live once again here at WWSU 106.9 FM, Dane's Right Choice, for another live episode of Ohio is on Fire. This is the 101 episode of Ohio is on Fire. Because once again, I've been your host all the episodes I've done. I haven't taken a vacation from doing an episode yet. I am Daniel Diesel. Daniel Big Diesel. Anyway, tonight we are live, and later on, about 50 minutes from now, I got an interview with Robert Leonard. He is a representative of the Adventurers Guild, and we'll talk to him about gaming and role-playing and how it's good for society, and of course the future of technology, and some of the greatest games of all time. So we will have a good discussion on that later on in the show. I will play some game-related music, something that put smiles on people's faces, and some tribute songs. I'm going to talk about Shirley Temple. I'm going to talk about, we had a guitarist from Devo, one of the legendary band from the 80s, Devo. He passed away earlier this week, so I'll briefly discuss him. But anyway, let's get on to the show. It's now time for the Ohio's on Fire report. I just briefly talk about some interesting things that's going on in Ohio. And, anyway, a lot of weird things happen in Ohio. And actually, there's a big development going on in Ohio, and perhaps all of America, I guess. There's a law, well, I guess it ain't a law really, it could be law. There's an idea that with the struggling schools, like the elementary schools and the high schools, it's been suggested that businesses become a sponsor of these schools. They become a big-time sponsor, and actually they would have significant control over what goes on in our children's schools. And John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, he has mentioned in the past that he would be in favor of that. Of course, a lot of people are against it. I do have mixed feelings about the idea of corporate-sponsored public schools, because I have a bad. I think if business gets involved in our schools, I think they'll do things in their interests. Of course, not that I guess people are doing things in their interests already, whoever's in charge of these schools. But I know one big business is the sports. I think all these big businesses care about is going where the money is. And I'm having this nightmare that if a business would take over these schools, they would spend $20 million on like football and give them all the money and not give anyone else any money. They would probably cut all the the organizations, like there's music clubs, there's the Latin club, any organization you can think of, and they'd probably, I'm just having this feeling that all those would get slashed and get rid of altogether. It'd be like the stigma of what school is now, like everyone looks up to the sports, the jocks, we have to look up to those people. That'd probably get worse if corporate America got involved in our schools. And another big complaint I've heard in the past is that textbooks would change. It would really change, because what would happen is a lot of businesses, they have their biased opinion. They would probably get rid of some historical figures in certain textbooks, and they would just our children would not learn of historical people, or perhaps certain facts that we once learned. And so yeah, there's a lot of controversy with that. I remember Texas. I know the state of Texas, they're in charge of our textbooks, or at least most of our school textbooks come from there. They had a big controversy a few years ago about getting rid of black public figures in our books. Those people like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, course, that someone put a stop to that. I think there was a big protest over that, which is good because it sounded evil and deep rooted, but their plan to get rid of civil rights people in our history. Everyone should learn about the background of our country. And big business, they're going to try to do that. Anything that big business gets a hold of, they destroy. Just look at radio. Wink, wink, ha ha ha. Anyway. But you know what? Then I got to thinking. You know, you could do things the right way. Maybe this won't be such a bad idea. Maybe some corporate companies, maybe they will, or maybe some political figures, they have the right idea. Perhaps some good could come out of this. And you know what? I made me a little list of some ideas of how corporate sponsorship of public schools could be a good idea. Some list of schools that could work out and the purpose of these schools, what the students can learn and benefit. I made me a little list. So let's see. I think maybe we can have a UFC preschool. Yes, the major fight organization, UFC, they could host their own preschool. Of course, then they can teach the little 5-year-olds how to defend themselves early in life. That way, when they get to high school, they won't know what to do. They will be prepared. Because if you know anything about high school, before you know it, there's going to be some angry kid who hates his parents, he hates his classmates, he hates his life. He's just going to throw punches someone one day. But UFC, it's going to train everybody. It's going to train your 5-year-old kid. They're going to get him out of diapers, and they're going to show him how to do a fish hook. Alright. And now, you got to go up a level. Once they pass UFC preschool, then they go into KFC kindergarten. Yes, kindergarten sponsored by Kentucky. I can't say that word. Kentucky Fried Chicken. And because Colonel Sanders, he would be a teacher. He would give the secret recipe to those that do not know how to read. And he would also, for recess activity, he would have the little kids chase the chickens. And of course, once you chase the chickens, you bring them in. That'd be their lunch. So that's what's going to happen in a KFC school. And now you got the next level would be Macy's Elementary School. The Macy's the shopping center, really nice upscale place, and the kids would get free clothing. They look really nice, and you know no one get made fun of. No, bullying would end forever if Macy's had their own elementary school, because everyone would look fabulous. Oh, look at you, sweetheart. Ooh. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. And now another school, once they get done with elementary school, of course we know the next step is middle school. And I think Chris Christie should have his own middle school. Yes, Chris Christie Middle School. And if you get bad grades, he will sit on you for 2 hours after school. That will improve your grades real quick, because you don't want that wide load sitting on you, crushing your chest in two. Anyway, now another idea for a school. I know around the middle school age, you know, parents and students, they have their options. Like, people grow. There's a lot of specialty schools for those that want to do something different besides the normal high school route. So there's a few. There's, I know private schools, a lot of private schools are religious. We got a lot of Catholic and Christian schools, which is fine. But I got another idea. I think this one private school is very underrated. I say we bring back the Heaven's Gate cult from the late 1990s, and we have Heaven's Gate Private School. And at this school, all the students drink the Kool-Aid, and they will go into that honor roll into the sky. Yes. And I got a few giggles. Alright, now another place that your kids could go to would be the Taco Bell Art Institution. Did I say art? I think I left out an F in that word. But yes, your bowel movements can now be a beautiful expression of art. So there's that. And now for high school. I say we have Trojan High School. Yes. Yes, Trojan the condom. What we do, every student gets a free condom, and let me tell you something, early pregnancy would go away forever. Like, we would go back to the early days when we waited till we were released in 21, or at least out of high school. Because I guess it's a big issue nowadays. Little girls are having babies much younger. And let me tell you something, Trojan High School put an end to all that crap. You get a condom every day, and it's free of charge, and it's required. You have to have it out on you every day. If security guard asks you if you have your condom on you, you got to show them your condom. And voila, Trojan High School. And then, last but not least, college. You know what? This idea works in public schools. I think the states and the ones that are involved, if they get their way, they could probably be a corporate sponsor to universities. Which, the good news is that may not necessarily be a bad thing, because most college students, and not all of them, but some, they like two things. They like beer and they like smoking pot. So, with that being said, we'd have Budweiser Community College and Weed State University. Oh yeah. And those are your corporate-sponsored schools of the future. So parents of America, cross your fingers and hope your kid turns out wonderful going to these schools. Alright. I can be funny sometimes. There's a guy, you can't see it, but there's we got a mirror out there. People can walk by, a few people laugh. So perhaps my comedy career has some promise after all. So I made a funny. And with that, let me tell you something. Here at Ohio is on fire. Every day is a silly holiday. Every single day. Especially this season. And guess what today is? Today is National Chocolate Mint Day. And here's what you got to do. It is required to eat chocolate mints for every single meal you eat today. I'm talking about breakfast. I'm talking about lunch. I'm talking about dinner. And oh yeah, I am talking about dessert. You got to put it on everything. You got to dip your pizza. Get you a pizza and dip it into some chocolate mints. And of course, what else could you mix chocolate mints with? Mashed potatoes, cottage cheese, buffalo wings. And yeah, it's the law. So if I catch you not eating chocolate mints, you are going to prison, and that's a promise. I'm Dog the chocolate mint hunter. I'm gonna hunt you down. I'm gonna tell the cops you're not eating chocolate mints today because it's chocolate mint day. So I think it's now time for everyone's favorite segment of the night. Everyone loves Shirley Temple, but the one thing that they love more than Shirley Temple and other child stars like Justin Bieber and Macaulay Culkin, they love this segment. It is now time for OMVP, Ohio's Most Valuable Pedestrian. Where's my music? Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah. Here's my part. Alright, it's now time for OMVP. It stands for Ohio's Most Valuable Pedestrian, and it's a fake award that goes to someone or a group of people from the state of Ohio that did something positive, or they did something very weird in a good way, nothing that was too terrible, or they made a little simple mistake, which I know some of us do. And legendary news reporter Leon Bibb, of course he's quite legendary in the state of Ohio area. I'll get a little bit of background on this guy. Anyway, but he's a news anchor in Cleveland, Ohio. Of course, he's currently a member of the BGSU Board of Trustees. He was the first black primetime news anchor in Ohio, and as perhaps you know, he's still active today. Well, he's now a viral video sensation, because sometime last week, actually it was on Valentine's Day, because he was talking about ideas on how you can celebrate your Valentine's Day. And he made a little slip up. Now I wish I could play the video, but he accidentally said a word that I cannot use on radio. I'll try to improvise as good as I can. He said that he said a word that started with the letter T and it rhymes with bit tease. So there you go. That's as good as I can get it. But he was telling how lovers can get advice on good dinner prices in downtown Cleveland, and that's when he said that word. He meant to say cities, but then he said something else, and he did this during a live news report. Of course, you can view the video if you go to YouTube, click on Leon Bibb, and that's probably it's the first thing that pulls up. But he's gotten millions of views already. He made a little simple mistake. Like I said, when you're live on the air, you never know what you're going to say. And Leon Bibb, I tell you what, he's quite the guy here. Another thing that he used to do, he used to be in the U.S. Army. He is a veteran, and he knows, I think he knows karate. He's, listen, Leon Bibb, you may have made a mistake on the air, but you got a lot going for you. You were the first black primetime news broadcaster. You kicked the door open for other black news broadcasters and radio broadcasters of the like. And you look nice in your suit. And apparently you like the ladies a little bit too much. Anyway, but let me tell you something, Leon Bibb. You're still the man of Cleveland broadcasting. And you won an award. Don't worry about it, because you probably won a bunch of awards for broadcasting in your career. Well, in this episode, you've won another award, my friend. You are the winner of OMVP of this episode. Yay! OMVP to Leon Bibb. Alright, OMVP, Ohio's most valuable pedestrian. And yes, this guy is, he's done quite a bit. I'll do a quick rundown of his lifetime awards. But he's in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, the National Broadcasters Hall of Fame, that is. He's also in the Glenville High School Hall of Fame for sports. And then he's in the Bowling Green State University Hall of Fame for communications, for his broadcasting work. I think he did radio for them. So he's a fellow college radio broadcaster. Alright. Anyway, then the Cleveland Press Club Distinguished Journalism Award. I don't know, they didn't say what year he won that. And then he's the Associated Press Ohio Broadcaster Hall of Famer. And then he's also in the Cleveland Associates of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. So there you go. Oh, one more thing. There's two more things about him. In 1996, Governor George Voinovich appointed Bibb to the Board of Trustees of Bowling Green State University. He now serves as chair of the board. And he's probably surrounded by a bunch of women, so he's got some explaining to do. And then he's also a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha and Sigma Phi Phi fraternities. Well, that explains it. I think he was thinking about his fraternity days, and he mixed up his Valentine's Day news report, and out came his nice little word that made him a video star. Okay, well, congratulations to Leon Bibb. I salute you. You joined the Hall of Fame list of Ohio's most valuable pedestrian. That was French there. Anyway, now a shout out once again to Bob Casale. I believe it's pronounced Casale or Cassell. But he was the guitarist of Devo. He passed away of heart failure earlier this week at the age of 61. He'll be missed in the music world and in the world of Ohio music, because they are from the state of Ohio. Him and the Mothersbaugh brothers. Of course, Mark Mothersbaugh, he's one of the great composers of our era. If you heard the, you've probably seen the show Catfish. You hear that little music, like do 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 do. It sounds like a rain tune of sorts. That's the theme of Catfish. Well, Mark Mothersbaugh, he made that music. He composed that whole thing. He also made a theme to the Rugrats TV show. You remember that little TV show? And yeah, he's done a bunch of things. But of course, Mark Mothersbaugh, he also contributed to making the music of Devo, and he was the group's lead singer. And you're going to find out what I mean right now, because I'm going to play some Devo, I'm going to play some Whip It, and then I'm going to play their cover of Rolling Stones' I Can't Get No Satisfaction. So I'm going to play that. Right now I'm back live in the studio with Robert Leonard. He is from the Adventurers Guild of Wright State University. And him and me, we agreed to provide a top 10 list. We each have a top 10 list of our favorite games that's ever created of any kind. And I guess I will go first. I'll do 10 through 1. Anyway, number 10 for me is a game called Truth or Dare. I think it's a classic party game. And then at number 9 is Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. I love it when I was a little kid. All you have to do is press one button, and then that blue, but he would become a blue ball. And actually, it's a tie for 9th place with Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic and Tails, because Sonic and Tails actually like the better. So I'll put that at number 9. And then at number 8 is the old childhood game Hide and Seek where you go hiding. And then number 7, Street Fighter. I love the arcade games from back in the mid-90s. And then number 6, Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo system. Really good game. I love it. And then number 4, Spin the Bottle. You get a few of your friends, some girlfriends, you spin the bottle, make the magic happen. So that's number 4. And then number 3 is, I love the game Mafia. It's a role-playing card game. And what you do is we play roles. Maybe you've played it before, Mafia, but like there's one group of villains. They go and the idea is to eliminate people by
Basically, you have a bunch of people. They each take different jobs. One is the mafia hitman. Another one is the undercover cop.
Yeah, and some are citizens.
Some are citizens.
Yeah.
You go through cops trying to get enough info to bust the mafia, and the hitman's trying to take out the undercover cop.
Yes, and last team remaining wins the card game. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So that's number 3. Of course, number 2 is Texas Hold'em Poker. I love playing that game with some of my friends, and it's a big ordeal on television right now. It has for years, so that's number 2. Of course, my favorite game of all time at number 1 is Grand Theft Auto, the entire franchise. It's you let your wildest fantasies come true. What you can't do in real life, you can do in a fake video game. You can get a little semi-truck and run over the cops, if you please. So those are my 10 favorite games of all time. Now let's hear from Robert Leonard. What are your 10 favorite games?
Well, the thing is, mine's a little bit more video game oriented.
All right.
Number 10 at Half-Life 2. Not any of the episodes. I like that one because I've played the original Half-Life and I've played Half-Life 2. I honestly felt that Half-Life 2 is better graphics and had a more deeper story to it. Number 9, Dead Space, the first one. I would put number 2 or maybe even number 3 on here if it was a lot more horror oriented and if it didn't have what happened, EA happened to it basically. Because number 3, the ending, spoiler alert, he doesn't die.
Okay.
Number 8, Pokemon Snap for the N64. Oh my god, do I have so many good memories about this game. It's the game that got me interested in photography. It taught me to look for stuff. It just was so much fun. You wouldn't imagine, if you honestly have never played it, go buy an N64, buy a copy of it, get a ROM of it, something, play it. It's one of the better games out there. It's an experience.
All right.
Number 7, Super Mario 64. I had a lot of fun memories of this one. Going through the castle, finding the hidden stars, throwing Bowser into bombs, going through, finding the wrong penguin, and finding the wrong penguin. Number 6, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Okay.
I put Skyrim instead of any of the others because Skyrim is the one that I've actually played the most out of all of them. Mm-hmm. And I have a good feeling that with the Elder Scrolls Online coming into beta now, that the Elder Scrolls is just going to expand and get bigger and hopefully better because I've seen those beta videos and they look really good for being an online MMO. Number 5, Super Smash Bros. For the N64. I would have put Melee or Brawl, but I felt that the original was truly just, this is one of the bigger games that Nintendo has ever made. This is one of those franchises that's keeping Nintendo going at this point.
Oh, okay.
Number 4, BioShock. I would have put BioShock Infinite on it, on here, except I did not enjoy the ending. For those of you who've played, you understand probably. For those of you who don't, play it. It's actually a really good game. The ending might leave you a little miffed because of certain things. I won't say because it ruined the game. Number 3, Borderlands 2. I never really played the original Borderlands, but I've recently started playing the second one, and I am just having so much fun with it. Just all the guns, all the things you can do, all the characters that are in there, just all of this stuff. Oh, it's so much fun. Number 2, Castlevania, Lords of Shadow. Now, I know this might upset a few of the hardcore Castlevania boys, but I never played the originals. Shock and awe. I did, however, play Lords of Shadow. Yes, the gameplay is similar to that of God. You'll say that the gameplay is a rip-off of God of War, which is actually a rip-off of Devil May Cry.
Okay.
But the story in it was just so driving. I've already got the pre-order for the next one coming out later this week. already paid off because I'm looking so forward to it. If you don't know what I mean by it's so story-driven, look up the ending, look up the after-credits scene on YouTube. You'll understand why.
Okay.
And finally, number 1.
Number 1.
Fallout New Vegas. Now, a lot of you might be saying, Fallout? That's a game with a whole frack ton of glitches. Why did you put that on there? Because war.
Oh.
War never changes. It's a game that had so much fun. I have so much fun just getting into a character, building that character up, having him make these choices, drinking all the Sunset Sarsaparilla you can in order to get those star bottle caps, going to Big Mountain and telling Dr. Mobius to stop making Cazadors. Night Stalkers.
Alright.
Going to just everywhere you could go, the weird wasteland stuff, the companions were so in-depth. Rex, a dog that doesn't have any talking to him, has one of the more in-depth side stories that I've ever seen for any other side character in a lot of other games. And all you had to do was go find a dog and get a new brain to put in his head. All that build up to that was just so big for a simple minor character. It was just like, wow, there's actually a character behind this barking attack dog.
Alright, cool. Well, that's a very good list there, man. The Fallout game, can you play it online with other people? Is it a multiplayer game?
It's a single player RPG. You can play it on PS2. I'm not sure about PlayStation, though I know you can get it on Xbox 360 and PC. Windows operating system, I should mention, for those of you who try that.
Okay. Well, that is excellent, man. Now, we were talking over break. Your group, the Adventurers Guild, there's going to be a big event you guys will be hosting sometime in the near future. Go ahead and talk about that for a little bit.
We're having our convention. We're having what we call GloryCon 2014.
Okay.
What's happening there is we're going to be having a lot of things happening, hopefully. We've got a few people from around, like from Ren Fair coming to sell their wares. We've got people coming in just to play games. We've got an electronics room set up. We're going to have an electronics room for like video games and all that sort of stuff for you to go and play. We're going to have panels discussing things from which pony is best pony to how to build a fantasy world. And I think that if I can get the people from last year, we might even still do the Oregon Trail panel, where we just have a whole bunch of people sit in the room and play the Oregon Trail. It was, from what I understood, I wasn't able to attend, but from what I understood, it sounded like it was a lot of fun. And some other things that we're going to have is, like last year, we had a thing called Shadowrun Missions.
Okay.
Shadowrun Missions takes place in the world of Shadowrun, but it's a one-shot, here are pre-built characters, we're going to run through this real quick. Shadowrun is a weird world because America has fallen into basically total corporate control, has been split up, Japan has taken over part of California, technology is really advanced, and magic has returned to the world.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking there's not just humans going around, there's dwarves, elves, orcs, trolls, that are all living in this new world.
Will they be in costume? Anybody? Is anyone
There'll be a few people doing cosplay stuff. I mean, I'm not really sure how big. We will have a costume contest this year, I should mention that.
All right.
I'm not sure really what it all depends on what you want to do, though I ask that you please dress appropriately enough to walk around in public.
Yeah.
If you do show up. I remember I was at Gen Con and there was a mudkip with less than desirable clothing on for a big convention.
All right. Yeah, we can't see any Leon bibs over there.
Yeah.
The guy, he said the word by accident. Yeah, that's what that metaphor was. A Leon bib. But anyway.
But it will be happening the weekend before Easter.
Okay.
At the Nutter Center. It's, I believe, $6 if you pre-order on our website, adventuresguild.org, which you can find through OrgSync for all you Wright State students. Or it's $10 at the door. Pre-order will get you a nice shiny badge.
Okay.
I'm not really sure what we've got at the door, though. We might have some leftovers.
Yeah.
Show up if you want. And don't be afraid to show up because, I don't know how to do Dungeons & Dragons, or, I don't know how to do Pathfinder. We'll teach you. That's the biggest thing that people don't always get is, I know that people don't always say it, but I can see it. They're always afraid to learn something new.
Yeah.
And something that should be mentioned is, we at the Adventurers Guild, we're not just going to laugh and point at you for, oh, you don't know how to build a meat blender barbarian? No, we're just going to say, hey,
you're going to be helpful. That's good.
we're going to help you. We're going to teach you the system. You're going to learn the ropes. I didn't wake up one day and suddenly know how to play 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons. I had to go through about 20 different books and learn a lot about some broken characters.
Oh, right. Now,
one of the things that one of the other things besides Shadowrun missions that we'll have Pathfinder Society. For those of you who don't know, Pathfinder is made by a company called Paizo, and Paizo right now is currently starting to outweigh Wizards with Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is starting to fall on hard times because they dropped the ball on 4th edition, which is a conversation for a whole nother day.
Oh, okay.
And Pathfinder just showed up and said, hey, we took your old system and we made it better. So Wizards is a little miffed about that. Paizo is basically starting to grow their own, empire.
All right.
And what Pathfinder Society is, I should mention this, is it's sort of a live-action role-play, LARP, if you will. You come in, you get your character, and you portray them. And you actually act out what they do. Like, everything from, I'm playing an elf wizard. You don't need the elf ears, but you basically just need to be able to move around a floor and be able to say, I do this, and point your finger and say, I do this to that, or I do this. You just need to be able to communicate well. You just need to have some form of communication that some people can understand you, and you just need to be able to move around a little bit. And that's all you really need for that sort of stuff. Because once again, we're not going to shun you if you've got some disability. We're not going to shun you. I mean, I've got a few friends who are actually in wheelchairs who come game with me occasionally. It's really fun. They're some of the best role players ever. It's pretty freaking awesome.
All right.
Don't be afraid to show up. Just don't. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Oh, you don't have a D20. Don't worry. In my computer bag that's sitting out in the lobby right now, I've got at least 10. I don't need 10. I need 1. We've got spares. Just show up.
So I'm going to try to break this down. So for those that aren't very experienced with the role-playing world, there is like a tutorial session at the GloryCon. Like there'll be someone teaching a tutorial.
There'll be someone teaching every single thing that you go to. They will walk you through. They may not hold your hand per se, but they'll at least
definitely
guide your hand.
Yeah. The holding hands would be kind of weird. And of course, and for those that do know how to play, there's already an expert field. They can just sign up and go do that. All right, I'm ready to go, baby. Let's do this. Is that there?
Yeah, there are that, but I mean, a lot of experience. I know there are some experienced players who like to play with new people, so that way there are those mentor types, and then there are those not so mentor types.
Yeah.
So, and there are definitely games that are specifically meant for more experienced gamers. Like I know for a fact that Shadowrun 4th or 3rd edition is not something that you just pick up. Whereas something as simple, which is why Shadowrun missions have pre-made characters, where something as simple as this game called Savage Worlds, it literally takes about 15 minutes. I picked it up in about 15 minutes, and that was mostly through just playing a character that was already made. I picked it up and I was able to make my own character in less than 5 minutes afterwards.
And one more thing, how much will it cost to go? Any ticket prices for that?
Ticket prices are I believe 6 right now if you pre-order. 10 at the door.
10 at the door. All right.
It's going to be in the McLynn Gym.
McLynn Gym.
At the Nutter Center.
All right. So if you're interested in GloryCon, yes, go there. It's the weekend before Easter. $6 in advance, 10 at the door. So do it. Oh, go ahead.
It will be on Saturday from about 10 to 8 in the evening.
10 in the morning to 8 in the evening.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you're very interested in that, go and do that. Robert Leonard will be there, and you'll meet other like-minded people of the Adventures Guild world. So, Robert, this has been a great interview. I'm so happy you were here, and I wish you and the Adventures Guild luck in your big event. And yeah, just good luck to you, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Robert. Yes, and go do it. Do it. All right, couldn't help myself. Yes, it's Lily commercials. Anyway, we are back with Ohio's on Fire. You just listened to Whip It by Devo, and then I played Satisfaction by Devo, which was the cover of that classic Rolling Stones songs from the 60s. Of course, I'll have more music coming up. But right now, I got a special guest in the studio. He is the one and only Robert Leonard. He is the leader of the Adventurers Guild here at Wright State University. But say hello, Robert.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Welcome to the show. Now, for those at home that don't really know what it's all about, tell them, what is the Adventurers Guild?
We're a collective group of people who come together, usually on Friday nights, and we like to just play games. We play everything from card games like Apples to Apples, Cards Against Humanity, if you ever heard of it, to Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, all those good RPGs that you always see on television getting made fun of.
Awesome. Now for the Wright State group, now is that what you guys do Friday? Do you guys work with other groups?
What we usually do is we're on the station on the third floor of Ullman. 6:30, 7:30 is usually our get-together time.
Yeah.
We have a meeting usually about once a month, beginning of the month. And what we do is basically everyone gets a room. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes off into their other games. We've got people doing stuff like, I've got a world that's based off of Star Wars. I've got a world that's based off of medieval fantasy. And sometimes we have a world that's based off of just modern day and just no superpowers, no magic, no nothing. You're just going around living your everyday.
Yeah, who creates those themes? Do you guys have meetings some weeks to determine what games get played and what direction you guys go in?
The way that it's really determined is DMs, Dungeon Masters, or Game Masters, as they're often referred to, will come to the guild and say, hey, I'm going to run, for instance, Star Wars, The Old Republic, and this time the Sith Empire wasn't all destroyed, and they'll bring up their own universe with themes that they've pulled together. A lot of times they'll be based on certain things, like I've seen a Flash Gordon-based game, for those of you who are old. I've seen games based off of Supernatural. I've seen stuff based off of the future, big one called Shadowrun, where magic and technology have really gone off the deep end and corporates rule the earth. And then you've got the stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, where elves, wizards, goblins, and the like are out throughout the world, and you have to go into the dungeon and fight them.
Awesome, man. Now, I understand, the thing of Adventurers Guild, it's all about role-playing and engaging in fantasy. Now, what your opinion, what are the positive effects of people that engage in fantasy role-playing? Any long-term positive effects?
Honestly, a lot of camaraderie. Because what you learn through these RP, you build better friendships with these people.
Yeah.
My main group of guys, my friend Zach and my friend Carrick, we will get together and we'll say, hey, let's play this game, and we will just play it for... I remember we had a Star Wars game, and we played it for 3 days straight. We went from basically being, we just learned how to use our lightsaber Sith Lords, to being by the end of it, one of our guys we had basically broken off from the Sith Empire, started our own organization. My friend had gotten off of his death stick addiction. We had all basically joined up this order, and we were starting to fight for the Republic.
Okay.
We had infiltrated it, we had subterfuged our way in, and all this sort of stuff, and it was just, all this happened over about a 2 solid days, solid 48 hours of just solid talking, dice rolling. But actually, what's surprising is, a lot of times that I've found what can be better is, sometimes you'll have gamers who are basically I want to roll the dice, I want to be the most, I can do X really well. Ask me to do Y, Z, or A, I can't do that. But I can do X so well you wouldn't even believe your pants were on. And other times you get players who are I've got a guy who's got an actual story.
Okay.
Who will actually have a family, who will have connections, who will have a life in this world. Though, kind of the funny thing is, my friend Zach always manages to kill off my friend Carrick's parents. But that's a revenge story about a fountain in in that same Star Wars game.
Awesome. All right. Now, why are people in the gaming industry, they're labeled as nerds, those that are social outcasts? Why do you think that is?
honestly, I think it's because people don't understand what gaming is. I see a lot of people watch, like I've watched The Big Bang Theory, and I can say, this is written by people who do not game and who are not true nerds and are trying to make fun of this nerd culture. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yeah, people were able to get behind it for a while before it just turned into ha 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 funny nerd thing that I don't really understand, makes them look like nerds. On the other side, you've got these people. Sorry.
It's okay.
You've got these people who have basically come together. I see some people write some of the best stories. My friend has created this world that's a mix of ancient Celtic culture, Spartan society, medieval fantasy, Egyptian. All these different cultures come together, and he made his own world, multiverse, reasons behind death, what happens after death, his whole extraplanar dimensions, everything. It's so fleshed out. And I'm just like, I watch these nerd shows, and I'm just going like, yeah, you cover very generic things, but you don't really get into into depth things like, oh, we've got story writers, we've got game designers, we've got computer people, we've got artists, we've got all these different types, and we're not just nerds. We've got our art nerds, we've got our computer nerds, we've got our game nerds, we've got our story nerds, we've got our fanboys, we've got our otakus, we've got our bronies, we've just got all these different things.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing I don't think people are understanding. We're not just nerd culture. We are cultures that you name nerd.
All right, that's a good explanation.
Excellence. Our culture of creativity has made us a trailblazer for collaboration and innovation in the arts. Built on a heritage of innovation, Wright State University's positive impact is felt throughout our region and the world.
We are back with Ohio's on Fire here on WSU 106.9 FM. Dane's Right Choice. You just listened to the Electric Field Justice remix by MGMT. Then I also played the regular version of the song Electric Feel. And then I also played Johnny Nash in his classic 1960s tune, I Can See Clearly Now. So I want to thank everyone for listening to my show tonight. I will be on next Wednesday night. I'll be live once again. And I'll have Blue Blaze Fashion as my guest. They are a group of women. And I think most of them go to Wright State University here. And they do fashion lines for young adult women. And even for some fashion models. And we will discuss, beauty in general. And we'll talk about models and trends and anything they want to talk about. So it should be interesting. They sound like really nice people. So that will be next Wednesday night. That's Blue Blaze Fashion. They're a fashion group. So anyway, that's... And once again, thank you to Robert Leonard, representing the Adventurers Guild Club. So he's got a lot on his plate. And once again, they have the GloryCon event. It'll be the Saturday before the Easter holiday weekend. So just look up your calendar, and if you want to go to it, he really wants people to go. So if you're interested, you'll go, and they will help you get caught up on the world of fantasy roleplay, and you can dress up in costumes and have all the good times you can master up. So anyway, with that, it is now time for Ohio's on Fire's final message of this program, and I want to talk to you about the future of technology. And I get my information from a website I really like called crack.com. If you've never heard of crack.com, they do articles, but they do them in countdown style. And they rank them, they rank the important issues from 6 to 1. They usually do 6 items, 7, sometimes 15, various sizes. And there are a lot of categories they do. They do video games, music, history, science, sports, movies, TV. They do a lot of categories. And these are based on real life facts. They do not make anything up. Although what they do is take the real facts. They say a lot of silly things about them. They make fun of it. So it's kind of like a personal blog of sorts, depending on who's writing the article. And but these are real things that's going to take place. They might take place. They may not. Because and one thing I want to touch up on is technology. We got a lot of cool things now. Of course, we got, the internet. We got iTunes, the iPod, which you can, a little miniature computer. We got little earphones you put in your, like it's almost like a hearing aid. We can use that as a telephone. You can call anyone around the world. We got Skype. We got a lot of cool technologies that my generation has came up with, and it's really cool. I love enjoying technology. People do wonder if it can go too far. I guess you can take anything way overboard. And this particular list, I won't read the whole list because this writer, he wrote a bunch of things about it, describing what each item was. So I'll just tell you what the item is and give you my thoughts on it. But anyway, this list is called 5 Visions of the Future from Experts Who Should Be Fired. Like, these ideas are so outrageous, it might just happen. Like, within 10 years' time, this might happen. But at number 5 is a thing called every surface in every building will be a touchscreen. Now imagine if you go to Wright State University and there was no regular walls. Like, there was no green painted cement wall. There was no regular floor you can walk on. Everything was one big giant television. Like, everything was technology. Nothing was made of wood, cement, or metal. It was just there. You could touch everything. I do mean everything. Like, use your imagination on this one. But the thing about that is that could be a serious fire hazard because, see, touchscreens is made from electricity. And electricity, if you mix it with water, since there's a lot of water and plumbing, and people could go to the bathroom sometimes, that could cause sparks, and of course sparks can create fires. Yeah, that was a little science lesson I just gave you all right there. They should hire me as a professor here at Wright State. A little lesson, but yeah, that sounds really dangerous. A lot of people have concerns over that, and like I said, it's a good thing to have a variety of stuff. America's supposed to be about a mixture of choices. Having everything be technology, having everything be a touchscreen, that would actually take away some quality of life, actually. It would numb your brain. It would make things more difficult than it had to be. Oh, and that includes the not just the exterior of the building they're talking about. They're talking about the interior. The interior and exterior. That means the inside and outside. Everything would have a screen. Like, even houses. Like, some rich people, they can make their houses this way if they wanted to. And I don't like the idea. I want things to look normal. I mean, there is such thing as a balance. Like, you have too much of anything. Like, even with wood, like, I know wooden houses back in the 1800s, those were boring. I mean, we were undeveloped back then. And, I mean, it was that's why we made improvements. People were tired of wood and all wood houses with very little heat. So we made changes. Some good people and smart people, we made these changes so we have air conditioning, we can have a little bit of technology here and there, we have some metal there, some cement, mix it up, get some variety. It's almost like the food groups, you got to mix up your food groups. You can have too much of something, you have too much wood, too much cement, and let me tell you something, you can have too much technology. So I kind of agree. I think that's scary to have a touchscreen for every surface on every building. Number 4 is the house of the future. And I guess this is for houses it's mostly technology, but for those that it's either all touchscreen or it's either devices that's all technology. Like, they can record your voice and they can do voiceover. They'll provide you a robot. Yes, you can have your own pet robot. If you don't like dogs and kittens, you can have a pet robot. You can make rooms wider and bigger just by pressing a button. I can see some billionaires buying a house like this. It sounds like fun. I mean, someone like me and you, we can't buy this house. There's no way we could afford it. And basically, it's technology. Technology does everything for you. It turns the water on for you. You just clip your fingers. Sometimes you don't have to clip your fingers. You just got to reach your hand out and it does it for you. Of course, that could backfire too. And there's alarms on there, so if someone tries to break into the house, there'll be alarms like 50 feet around the entire house. Like, it can't even touch a foot of grass without having the buzzer ring. So I do see that happening. I like to think there's some houses that are like that now, probably in California or New York City, and for the super rich. So I don't know. It'd be nice to look at, but I don't know because things could go wrong with that too. With technology, it'd be very expensive to uphold the maintenance, if you will. But at number three on this list is, in the future we will wear our computers as outfits. Yes, you will have keyboard as a belt. You could have a mouse clicker as a headphone. I guess you could do that now. Like if you take your laptop, you can get some duct tape, just strap it around you and try not to jog too fast. And voila, you got a laptop sweater. This is real. They got clothing lines that's in development for computer devices that can appear on your clothing. Oh boy, I guess it'd be weird to look at. I mean, that's something I wouldn't mind. Well, not being aware, I wouldn't mind looking at someone else wearing that. Of course, the good news with that, there's also going to be computer-worn bikinis. They are developing bikinis with computer technology on them. So imagine one of these Sports Illustrated swimsuit models. There was a button, and they can press that bikini that's barely there already. They press a button, it becomes invisible, like clear see-through. Oh yeah, I like the future. This is one idea that I kind of like. So thumbs up to that. I'm a hot-blooded male, so I gotta enjoy something. So I look forward to that. At number 2 on this list is the future. It's going to rid us of all keyboards, and I think this would be a good idea. Although you'd have to probably take a class on how to use it's pretty much an air touch screen. You press a button that's not really a physical item you can touch. Like you swipe your finger a certain way and a letter will come up. Or it'll be like a laser replica of a keyboard. Like you got Q, W, S, X, M. All the letters that are on there, it wouldn't be something physical you could touch. It'd be like a laser outline. You just got to press through it, almost kind of like 3D simulation, and it'll touch a letter for you. And you wouldn't have to carry it anywhere. In fact, it'd be in like you can actually take it with you. You could actually put it in a holder, like some type of computer chip of sorts. It's a button you can press, and it would just come out anywhere you go. You can press it, and your keyboard would be right in front of you. That's wild. I wouldn't mind trying that out. I think a lot of people wouldn't mind it either. And apparently they're going to do this because it's going to save trees. They wouldn't have to kill so many trees to make the keyboards that we have now, or they can use metal scraps. They can. It's less items we can use. Less times we can use up, and more technology. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I guess if it's going to make the environment a better place and people can use it quickly, sure, that'd be good. And now the number one technology that people are afraid that actually people that develop these should be fired, according to this list. It's to transmit your thoughts in the future. Transmitting your thoughts into the future. What it is, I'll try to read some of this. If you got a video that starts out normal, and they're talking about phones, then let me read you this big list here. Hold on. I'm pretty sure that he's becoming a way to become higher than any person who has ever consumed any substance of drugs. So this guy's been compared to some type of crazy drug addict, but it'd be true. Imagine standing in front of your boss while getting screamed at, and you feel that it's undeserved. How fast do you think it would take him to fire you when he sensed that you were picturing him being beat up by a horse or being killed by a gangster? Because apparently you could. It's to read your thoughts. I guess there's a chip that you can use. It's a sensor of sorts that can pick up your thoughts, the signals of your thoughts. It can be translated into your real thoughts. And of course, if someone were to get a hold of it, they could plug it into the computer. They could see what thoughts you're having. Any personal thoughts you had of anybody would appear on a computer chip, and you couldn't even notice. You wouldn't even feel a thing. And that is actually being developed by a lab somewhere. And actually, they're hoping if it comes their way, like the lab that's making this, they're hoping to be ready by 2025. That's only 11 years away, people, and that does scare me. I don't want people reading my mind. when I think of something, I want it to be by myself. I want it to be my thoughts. And no, I do not like this idea at all. I'm hoping they scrap it. I don't want people to read my thoughts. I don't want to read your thoughts. That guy that's down the hall there, I don't want to read his thoughts because he might have some creepy thoughts and some bad, creepy, illegal thoughts. Yeah, I don't like that. So there's that list. And the other thing is they got something else that they're doing. I forget what list this was, but I can remember the top two. It's called Devices That Will Change Everything in the Future. They did like a list of 7 of them. And of course, I followed the top 2. I think it's number 2. I might be wrong, but I've heard this. But one idea that device that's being created right now is TV screen glasses. Basically, you wear these glasses, and they don't have to be prescribed either. It can be prescribed or not, but you pretty much can watch TV and play video games on your glasses screen. And it'd be really little. Like you put something on your face, you press a few buttons, and you just control what you see. It'd be right in front of your face, and there is a lot of risk to that. You get really dizzy, like if you take in a lot of technology at once. And of course, you could go blind because having all those rays right in your face, that sounds like brain cancer ready to happen right there. Like it probably looks cool, but now I'm not so sure about that. Someone else would have to be a test dummy to test that before I could try that out. And now one more idea that I've heard that's being developed, which has been in development for a long time, and I really hope these do come out because I would love to try these, and that is jetpacks. Jetpacks, they were first created in the late 80s by I think it was like a California college. I forget which college it was, but if you know what a jetpack is, it's like a rocket you get strapped to your back, and then there's like a belt buckle. And then there's these metal handles. You press a button, you go up, you go down. If you remember an episode of Texas Ranger Walker, starring Chuck Norris, he had one of these. He used it one time, I guess, to rescue Alex and a bunch of people that were they were hostage at some type of award banquet, some crazy maniac. And the thing is, if you ever watched that show, every other episode, that Alex, she would get kidnapped. And Texas Ranger Walker, he'd have to come kidnap her. It was always her. Like it could be anybody. I think she was kidnapped at least 30 times that whole series. And he would always rescue her right in the nick of time. Just before they pull that trigger to blow her into outer space, she would be rescued by Walker. And of course, one of those episodes, he had a jetpack. He put one on. I think NASA gave it to him, and he broke through a window, and then the bad guys, they started shooting at him, and no one could hit him, and then he came down, he did some karate chops, and happily ever after was everyone. Now, I don't know about the Chuck Norris part of going down to fight crime, at least not on my part, but jetpacks are being developed, and that could be ready by the year 2030, and I do want one. You'd have to train to use it like anything else. This is a heavy object. It'd be like the new car of the 21st century. Like what cars were to the 20th century, jetpacks will become that creation for the 21st century. And it is on its way. You have to wait a little bit longer. Probably by the time I'm in my mid-40s, that'll be when it is suspected to be available to the public. That does excite me. It probably excites you too. And you can travel places anytime you want. Strap it on. You can get away from barking dogs. You can get away from the landlord. Maybe he's going to send some people over to whack your rear end with baseball bats. All you got to do is strap on a rocket jetpack and off. Warning. This episode of Ohio is on Fire contains strong opinions and viewpoints that belong to the host and guests that appear on Ohio is on Fire. This show contains entertainment and honesty that reaches extreme levels. Please do not try this at home.
Tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
My name is Elizabeth Holford, and I'm the Executive Director at Equality Ohio.
I have a First Amendment.
Equality Ohio.
These officers want me to leave this position. because you got cameras.
Equality Ohio.
You believe it?
Witnesses say during a heated confrontation, a healthcare reform opponent had his pinky finger bitten off when he stuck it in a healthcare reform supporter's face. Police say the 65-year-old man picked up his finger and drove himself to Los Robles Hospital, where they're now trying to reattach it. Police tonight are searching for the biter who ran from the scene.
Enough! Silence! I can't take no more. Fire! 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 Fire!
Let's just talk. Listen, I'm sorry. You're highly professional at what you do. You get here and